When you hear the term security controls, it might sound like something fancy, but in reality, they're just the tools, rules, and processes that keep our data safe. Think of them like the different layers of armor protecting an organization, from firewalls and password policies all the way to risk assessments and employee training. In this video, we're breaking down the main categories of security controls: technical, managerial, and operational. And then we'll look at different control types like preventative, detective, and recovery that defines how these controls protect us. By the end of the video, you'll have a complete 360-degree understanding of how these controls fit together. Let's start with technical controls, also called logical controls. These are the ones that rely on your technology to protect systems and data. They're usually automated and enforced by hardware or software rather than people. Think firewalls, encryption, antivirus software, and authentication mechanisms. Basically anything that works behind the scenes to enforce security policies in a technical way. For example, a firewall blocks unauthorized network traffic. Encryption protects sensitive data at rest or in transit. Access control lists decide who's allowed to access certain resources. Multi-factor authentication adds layers to verify identity before granting access. These are the controls that defend your system in real time. They don't rely on someone remembering how to lock the door. They are the lock itself. So, when you think technical control, think automation, enforcement, and technology doing the heavy lifting. Later, when we talk about control types, you'll notice many technical controls are preventative, like firewalls, detective, like intrusion detection systems, or even corrective, like automated recovery scripts. Next up, let's talk about managerial controls, sometimes called administrative controls. These are the controls that exist on the policy and planning level. They're not about firewalls or software, but they're about the decisions, documentation, and oversight that guide how an organization approaches security as a whole. If technical controls are the what of cybersecurity, the managerial controls are the why and how. These controls are usually implemented by management or security leadership, not the technical staff. Think risk assessments, security policies, standard operating procedures, audits, and training requirements. For example, a company's acceptable use policy defines how employees can use company devices. A risk assessment helps management identify which assets are most valuable and what threats they face. A security plan outlines how the organization implements and enforces its defenses, and periodic audits verify that security standards are actually being followed. Managerial controls don't directly stop hackers or detect intrusions. Instead, they ensure that everyone in the organization knows their role and that security decisions are based on actual risk and not guesswork. In other words, they're the blueprints behind the operation, the plan that tells every other control where to go and why it matters. Now, let's move on to operational controls. These are all about the people and processes that make security work day to day. If technical controls are powered by technology and managerial controls are powered by policy, then operational controls are powered by people. These controls focus on how tasks are carried out, how security protocols are followed, and how incidents are handled in real time. Basically, it's the human side of cybersecurity. Operational controls include things like security awareness training, incident response procedures, change management, configuration management, account reviews, and supervision of users. Let's break it down a few. Security training teaches employees how to spot phishing, handle sensitive data, and report suspicious activity. Incident response ensures there's a clear process when something goes wrong, who to contact, what steps to take, and how to contain damage. Change management prevents mistakes by requiring that updates and system changes are reviewed and approved before deployment. And account management makes sure user privileges are regularly reviewed so access stays appropriate to each person's role. Operational controls bridge the gap between management's plan and technology's execution. It keeps security policies alive through everyday behavior. So if you ever hear operational controls, think people doing security the right way, consistently and responsibly. Now that we've covered the categories of security controls, technical, managerial, and operational, it's time to talk about the control types. These describe the function of a control, what it actually does to protect the system. Every control, no matter what category it is, fall in one or more of these types: preventive, detective, corrective, deterrent, compensating, and recovery. Think of it like this: the categories describe who or what that implements the control, while the types describes what the control does. Let's break down each one. Preventive controls are proactive. They stop threats before they happen. They're like a security guard at the door, making sure only authorized people get in. Examples include firewalls, access controls, strong password policies, and security training that prevent users from falling for phishing attacks. Anything that's designed to block, restrict, or prevent an unwanted event from occurring, that's preventive. Detective controls don't stop the attack, but they let you know something's wrong. These are your alarms, monitoring tools, and logs that alert you to suspicious activity. Think intrusion detection systems, SIEM alerts, security cameras, and audit logs. Detective controls are essential because even the best preventive measures can fail, and when they do, you need visibility. Next, we have corrective controls, which kick in after an incident to fix or limit the damage. These might include patching vulnerabilities, restoring backups, or reconfiguring systems after an intrusion. In short, preventive stops it, detective finds it, corrective fixes it. Deterrent controls are all about discouraging bad behavior before it starts. They don't necessarily stop an attack, but they make the attacker think twice. Think warning banners, policy statements, visible security cameras, or even legal disclaimers. These controls say, we're watching, we're prepared, and it's not worth it. Then there are compensating controls, which act as substitutes when the primary control can't be used. Maybe you can't implement multi-factor authentication on an older system, so you compensate by enforcing stricter monitoring or access reviews. The goal is to achieve the same level of protection, just through an alternative method. And finally, recovery controls. These are the ones that help you bounce back after an incident. Think of them as the digital first aid kit. These include data backups, disaster recovery plans, redundant systems, and failover solutions that keep operations running or help restore them quickly after an outage. While corrective controls fix what's wrong, recovery controls help you get back on your feet. So remember, categories describe who implement the control, and types describe what the control does. In practice, a single control can fit into multiple categories. For example, a firewall is both technical and preventive, while a security camera is operational, physical, and detective. Understanding how these overlap help you think like a security analyst, not just memorizing controls, but knowing how they fit together to protect an organization from every angle. And that's a wrap on security controls. From the categories, technical, managerial, and operational, to the control types: preventive, detective, corrective, deterrent, compensating, and recovery. The key takeaway: security isn't just one thing, it's layers of protection, and each category and type working together to prevent, detect, and respond to, and recover from threats. Understanding both who implements a control and what function it serves is the secret to thinking like a security analyst, and is exactly the kind of knowledge that the CompTIA Security Plus exam wants you to have. So whether you're building a home lab, designing a security policy, or just curious about organizations keeping data safe, remember, controls are your building blocks, and understanding how they interconnect is what gives you a full 360-degree view of cybersecurity. Next video, we will explore the one security control type that was not mentioned in this video: physical security, and how the real world can affect the digital. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos on cybersecurity concepts, security tips, and practical applications. Thank you for watching. Now go grab something to eat. You've earned it.